tifo mema obi biara akwaba edeba enimde news eso sabre yensem no yebebo ewra ensem no emu
Ba Penny Gertrude Araba Isaba Torkonoo wano enene omampani ejina Ghana ya mamra ne so 1992 constitution article 146 clause 6 no eso ni nyina emra ne ma ne ho kwan pefe esese omampani saka tumi krata anaso omampani saka krata bi kire se Chief Justice Oti Edwaso enema bi nkoyi enema bi ntwa ya se wo so edema Council of State na Council of State nso ehwehwema no mu se ensuo bi wom enyinaso bi wom pa na eni omampani esese wo pa committee na committee ne tenase eye adwuma hwe se Chief Justice ye pamono ananse won tenase na onye na adwuma eno ena bra committee efi o madwuma se eye Justice Gabriel's Court ya poama committee ni titire ni din ena ya de toso eni nti sa committee na adwuma no eye nkakra ena omu efiase committee na adwuma no mo afiase Chief Justice Ababonte edikan kra etro krata ebeka che Ghana fo nyina ese ne edikan bebia ye sa adwuma ne kra no ohun ni se enkoyie committee ni bebe ye de ama won kokotena no wose okoho a ya tututuo kakra ewo ho enti ya de a ekakai ni tete no ekakai ni niam bia ense ne mfata eno achikurase ho suspended Chief Justice okoduru ho a ase ye bo ne search ase mema bia bo ne search no obi pese ode ne nse ewura ba bia ense na emfata eno achi ose ne lawyer enema bia wo esese ye ma ne lawyer kwan na ne lawyer ye no kra ye ma no sa akwanya no ose ni kunu ye ma kwan ese ni kunu na se busuani bi mpo eni nachi na sam ni bi pem na anka ya krokro no nkakra ewo eho eno ene nsema Chief Justice odi kan edi release ba abonten ebebo Ghana fo amane ase Ghana fo ankenkan Ghana fo antie eno achi kra eno san be ye press conference ebebo mu che Ghana fo nyina se wedie mekasa obechirechire mu pa edi che Ghana fo ena Chief Justice ankasa akọ eye ECOWAS Court of Justice akọ ese yetietia ne fa ahodie so na ne fa ahodie so na yetietia no emra wo ho pa Angel Kasi abowrem ECOWAS Court of Justice no atemuafu a eteso ewo ho ne tie de oye pie mu pani pa wo ho tetitirani ewo ho eye Justice Honorable Justice Ricardo Claudia Montero a wono efi Kevet Vice President eye Justice Senyo Mohammed Koroma wono so efi Sierra Leone ena ya Ghana ni dehye pa Justice Edward Amuakun Asante na anu ya otwe ECOWAS Court ni nyina eba manga na mu ha ena de otosubio oye member eye Justice Watara wono efi Cote d'Ivoire ene ye Justice Dub Atipo wono so efi Nigeria na sansem we gise nya lawyer ni mapa wono ene betimi a kire ye mu pa ma yate asese ne Chief Justice eye ne kwanso anu no anase afomumra no ewo baabi private legal practitioner eye Gomda Abdul Aziz wono ene ye ne eba besuade ewo emra we hu kansa mame mo adwo emu akwaba mi se baabi awo no eno anu no anamo Chief Justice suspended Chief Justice watui mamini kan bisa se ye ne Ghana fo e bisa se usomu sen eno anu no
mi jiwo so me semichi na ukifoni na until amajiwe nchomuna okay but okay
Can't bacha odem meton kapa.
Okay. Well, as it stands here, the extent of the information here in terms of Chief Justice case our file of ECOWAS now is only limited to what the Deputy Attorney General, Honorable Dr. Justice Shamsai, I just share my public because I don't think we have records or copies of the contents of Adia on our Chief Justice Nasari or suspended Chief Justice no actually in the court. And if you look at information the Honorable Deputy Chief Justice and Deputy Attorney General shared with the public, basically, or share say Chief Justice needs challenge the legality of the suspension law, which from where limits now. It's a constitutional matter. And that's the ECOWAS Court no more jurisdiction to entertain and hear matters of human rights violations. For now, we can share the exact nature of Chief Justice in case because those matters have not been public yet. But relying on the information Deputy Attorney General has shared to the public, I understand we say, or challenging the legality of the suspension and the power to suspend the Chief Justice, the Asama Constitution has provided for, and has provided the procedure by which President who has the power to suspend the Chief Justice, who is a subject of a removal proceeding. So the procedural requirements are laid down clearly in the Constitution. And the question you ask yourself is challenging the legality of the suspension as provided under Article 146 of the Constitution, to which the President of Ghana has the power to do. Is that challenge to be done within our local courts or within a community court like ECOWAS court? And as mentioned earlier, ECOWAS court, in addition to some other judicial or they have the power to determine human rights violation. Is this issue a human rights violation? It is based on what the Deputy Attorney General has shared with the public. I don't think it's a human rights violation. And if it is not a human rights violation and it's an issue challenging a constitutional authority, clearly, every court by its establishment is regulated by a law. And ECOWAS courts, the jurisdiction is established by the ECOWAS Treaty and accompanying protocols, which confers its jurisdiction. And jurisdiction is basically the power of a court to determine certain matters. And the law, manu and confer a particular power in the court to determine a matter. The court cannot go into that matter.
Okay.
And if you look at the jurisdiction conferred by the ECOWAS Treaty and the accompanying protocols that establish the ECOWAS Court of Justice, determining the validity of constitutional injunctions and constitutional powers of domestic, domestic in nature or national sovereign countries is not part of our jurisdiction. So ECOWAS Court is to determine whether the President of Ghana has exercised his power under Article 146 correctly or otherwise. Someone needs our power. The only power they might have as it relates to the individual is where there are allegations of violations of human rights.
Council Minchawano ba oshe the Deputy Attorney General Justice Msai eposti yena part ni bi kasa ese suspended Chief Justice HSE yetieti anefa ahudie so human right na yanhwe ne said ye wo kan agana fo etie wi nyina no se eyampa se yetieti anefa ahudie so na ECOWAS court ewo jurisdictional ebetimi affect ye o betimi akase da bi mu tietia ma me ne fa ahudie stunti no munyai na wo metena se nya na adwuma bibisa betimi asi.
Okay, this is on general human rights violation. Of course, the ECOWAS court, community court has the jurisdiction. And even in our within our domestic setting as Ghana, not every matter borders on human rights. Not every allegation of constitutional violation constitutes human rights violation. And like I said, we have not had the benefit of the content of the application or the process around filing of ECOWAS court. As relying on what the Deputy Attorney General can, is basically, and if I may, I think what the Deputy Attorney General said was that, I'm quoting the Deputy Attorney General, that essentially, the leadership agreed that by a suspension, she, another quote, has effectively been removed from her official capacity without a final determination, impairing her right to function and serve in a position she was constitutionally appointed to. And far right now, make reference to it's a right created under Article 146, or it's a right created under the Constitution which confers powers on her. Then Article 146 can also govern the president's power to suspend a civil who is subject to this removal proceeding. Please remember. Now, make it very clear that position
Council, wadaruma onna no kakra bi ma yɛ sɛ anoma bi twetwetwa wa homa anima nti mu nhyɛ enkoyi.
Hello,
kasa menhwɛ.
Yeah,
me pa cha fe odem wadaruma odem TNT o.
The point I was making was that yes, the paper court has jurisdiction in the human rights policy. But if you look at the nature of the plan, okay, before the was completed by the Deputy President, my view is that the ECOWAS Community Court only makes decisions in the matter because it governs on challenging the authority of the President to suspend her. And the ECOWAS Community Court doesn't have jurisdiction to determine whether our President has complied with the Constitution or not. Only that jurisdiction. It's a sovereign matter for which our courts have jurisdiction to determine on such matters. And the court in Ghana, for the purpose of determining whether the Constitution has been complied with or not, is the Supreme Court. And clearly, Chief Justice is currently before the Supreme Court, challenging her suspension, challenging the removal and all those things. And I am very convinced that the Supreme Court is competent not to make that determination. And I know she has supervised or she has presided over the Supreme Court for some time. And I'm very convinced she is so aware that the Supreme Court is competent. But on challenging whether the suspension is valid or not, and impairing her from functioning as a Chief Justice, I'm sorry to say that based on my review and understanding of the rules and the laws are establishing on manner establishing ECOWAS Court now, I'll be surprised to hear that they have entertained that matter. Clearly, I expect them to say that, well, if you are complaining of human rights violations, they are here to hear you out. But if you are challenging your suspension, unfortunately, I don't think the law that established that ECOWAS Community Court gives them the power to make inquiries into the legality or otherwise of the suspension by the President for which he's complaining about.
Okay, as a council meti asie here eniema mienu na waka a yate asie na edi kan ni say Chief Justice kwani de wakọ sese a Deputy Attorney General aka say de na say okọ na emom so okọ say onti asie ekwan a ye fa so eyi ni to akonwa a ye ni mu hwehwemu a and the ECOWAS court ni betimi aka chenze ma me an say wayera kwan wafom kwan na emom okọ na okoka say ebia ye tietia me fa ahodie so a ye beka say the human right and I trampled upon dear ene omo betie na asem no na omo tie die wo mu potintia yetete na na se yetete ne fa ahodie so sa bebepe na pese yete ase
exactly no
na ebetimi abase ne fa ahodie na o ka se yetete aso no ombehwem etie na asem awie na omo confirm se ane yetie ma me ni nkurobo nyina awie a yehunu se Ghana ban ene Ghana fo nyina mu tete ntinia mu ye no munyai eno emra no ma ho kwan na omu make ne pronouncement a ebetimi abase esese yesesa bibi ana ye bibi mana saa ne fa ahodie na ye bubu so no ye bejai.
Is in respect of the human rights violation?
Yes, in respect of the human rights violation.
Yes, in respect of human rights violations, the ECOWAS court has the power to make those determinations. And there's something very interesting about the ECOWAS court. Unlike other international courts, and even in Africa, there's a court known as the African Court for Human and People Rights. In those courts, there's a pending human rights case within your local jurisdiction. The court would not entertain your matter, even if it's human rights violation. But for ECOWAS court, that one, at least based on their decisions in the past and also the law that established the court. Even if there's a pending human rights case, the court will still entertain you. So for ECOWAS court, yes, they can look into the matter and make the determination if it is about human rights. But at the end of the day, if they make the decision, enforcement becomes another issue because it becomes a state interstate relational issues, because at the end of the day, any individual know that would ensure compliance and enforcement of the judgment. It is the institution of ECOWAS and its member states. And there's always that political question that, yes, if you have a judgment,